guys, welcome back to KS Makeup Your Face, where I teach you how to make up your face. Today's video will be all about brushes. I'm not a brush expert. I don't know every little thing that a brush can do. However, I'm going to tell you guys my favorite brushes and how I like to use them, and maybe you might learn something out of this and go out and buy these brushes and use them for something that you didn't think that you would ever use it for. Now, keep in mind, all my brushes are disgusting, so do not judge me. I know that I gotta go get those cleaned, but lately I just don't have time, so bear with me. I know they're dirty, but imagine they're clean, okay? And if you guys have any questions, please do not hesitate to leave me a comment down below and I'll gladly answer it for you. Starting off with face brushes. As you guys know, I love my beauty blender, and this isn't considered a brush. However, it is a tool that I love to use when applying foundation. The beauty blender is a sponge. It is actually not this size. This is the size of it when it is damp. So what you do is you run it under some water, kind of squeeze it, wring it out a little bit, and it'll expand and it'll be a lot softer. When you start bouncing this on your face, it creates a thin layer of your foundation, and it doesn't make it look cakey, but it spreads it evenly for enough coverage on your face. I highly recommend, if you guys don't know which kind of brush you want to use as far as applying liquid foundation goes, I like this sponge. This is a really great tool. Now, if you don't want to dish out the $20 for this sponge and you want to use a brush of some sort, I suggest the Real Techniques buffing brush. It is a rounded top. It is very densely packed. When you apply it, it performs so well when you run it in circular motions. The bristles are duo fiber, so when you apply it, it makes it more airbrushed. And because it's densely packed, I feel like it applies the product straight on rather than absorbing it. Because it's a little bit pointed on this end, I can, get into the crevices of my face, go underneath the eye. You are also welcome to use this with, for example, powder foundation. You don't need to use liquid foundation. However, this brush I feel works best for me with liquid foundation. A girl's got a powder. I have oily skin, so I always powder my face. And once again, you don't have to use this kind, but I do enjoy using the Real Techniques powder brush. This brush is soft, it's very full, it's rounded, and I feel like this brush doesn't shed at all. Now, in the past, I have compared this brush to my Sedona Lace powder brush, and in size, they are really similar. I would say that this one is a tad bit larger. However, I feel like this one doesn't shed at all. I've washed this brush so many times, and even till this day it still sheds on me, and this is the Sedona Lace one. And I mean, for the amount of money that you're paying for this one compared to this one, I mean, think about it. If you're gonna pay less for this one and this one works just as well, then use this one. I like using this to apply powder and powder foundation. For example, a pressed powder just for oil control, or for example a Bare Minerals foundation. Then for contouring, I picked out my Real Techniques contour brush, and it is just this really small dome shaped brush. It is tapered, so it goes from shorter bristles to longer bristles as you go towards the center. It is very small, so most people would think contouring, is a very precise line, and when you suck in your cheeks, it fits perfectly in the hollows of your cheeks. I wouldn't say that this is good, for example, for blending. However, I use this brush to just place the product in, and then after I finish putting it in, then I will, for example, use the powder brush and blend it out. So because this one is fluffier, it's better for blending out your harsh lines. This brush is also perfect for setting your under eye powder and to prevent creasing. You don't just have to use this for contouring, even though it is a contour brush. For cream blush, I like using the Real Techniques stippling brush. You don't have to use a stippling brush in order to apply cream products. However, I just think that it's easier when it comes to putting the product on your face and blending it out. Now, you can use this brush, which I'm going to talk about in a second. I believe this is just an angled blush brush. I think because this specific brush has short bristles, it is duo fiber, and the short bristles especially make applying the product a lot easier. So if you were to use this one for cream products, I feel like it would just sit in the brush. It wouldn't exactly apply the product very well. If you look at e.l.f., which is Eyes, Lips, Face, they do have a brush. It's called the Small Stipple Brush. It is the same concept as the Real Techniques brush, so if you do not want to dish out the $10 for this brush, you can always go look at eyeslipsface.com. It's $3 and it performs the exact same way. If you want to compare this stipple brush, for example, this e.l.f., this is the regular stipple brush, not the small stipple brush, I'm sorry. You'll notice the hairs are a lot longer on the e.l.f. one. When you have longer bristles, there's not as much control when you're applying your product. It's really flimsy and it just gets anywhere, and you know, it's not ideal, I'd say, for applying cream products, whereas this one with the short bristles, it's more precise, more dense, and easier to apply your product. You don't just have to use this one for cream blush as well. You can use this for your foundation. I just feel like in general, stipple brushes that are short and densely packed are great for applying cream products, creamy products, liquid products. It's just, I feel like it makes the application of your product a lot smoother and more airbrushed. So you can use this for anything, but I just prefer using this for my cream blushes. For powder blushes, I like to use this, which is a Coastal Scents brush. Like I said before, I believe the angled blush brush. I'll put the numbers and stuff down below, but this brush says it is the BRCS25. I don't know what that means, but you know, I'll figure it out later. The reason why I like using this brush for powder blushes is because I feel like it fits so perfectly on the cheekbone, on the apples of the cheeks to apply. And you could also use this for contour because of the slant on the brush. When it comes to applying the product, it doesn't apply it too heavily. It applies just the right amount. Now, let's say you want a heavy amount of color. All you have to do is just run it really heavily into your blush and then apply it. But at the same time, it applies the perfect amount. It also blends it out beautifully. You know, I can apply it and then I can also just run it in circular motions. It'll kind of shear it out a little bit. It'll also help prevent the harsh lines on your face. But I feel like this brush is just so great. Now, I have the same sort of brush from Sedona Lace, but look at how much shorter the Sedona Lace one is. Now keep in mind, this is synthetic hair, this is natural hair, so there are two completely different types of hair on the brush. They will not perform, I believe, the same. I think that they apply a lot differently. Because this one is like a lot longer of hairs, I feel like it's more flexible and you can do a lot more when it comes to applying the product. So that's the difference between the two. And all day, every day, I will pick my Coastal Scents brush over the Sedona Lace one, purely because 1, it's cheaper, 2, it's synthetic hair, it's easier to clean, and 3, since the bristles are longer, it's a lot more flexible and easier to use. When you're applying highlight, a lot of people like to use a fan brush, which I do have. This one's from Coastal Scents. However, I like using my e.l.f. blush brush. Now you're gonna think, Kelsey, why are you using a blush brush for highlight? And that's a good question. The reason why I like using this one over the fan brush is because the fan brush, I feel, applies the littlest amount of product. Now, some people do like that. I used to be like that. I used to like just having a small amount of product as a highlight, but lately, because spring is rolling in, I like having the glowy effect on my face, and I feel like this brush applies more product than a fan brush would. This is a tapered brush. The brush also has a dome shape. You put the brush into the product and then you just sweep it on your cheekbones, like at the very top of your cheekbone. And it just fits perfectly. It doesn't put too much when you run down the nose, on the forehead in the little tree shape. The Cupid's bow, just dab a little bit and then down the chin. It's perfectly shaped. You don't have to worry about this product getting all over the place and doing all of that stuff. And I feel like because the brush is tapered, that makes applying the product a lot more smoother. To top that off, this brush is only $3, and I mean, if you wanted to use it for what it is designed for, to apply blush, you're also welcome to. It fits perfectly on the apples of your cheeks. You can also use it for contouring. Just turn the brush horizontally and run it for contour. You know, you can also use this to set your under eye. You don't have to just use it for what I use it for. You can even use it as a brow bone highlight. It fits right underneath your brow bone. And it's a really good brush. I like it. It's soft and it's cheap. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Moving on to the eyes. Now, these brushes, I know you guys see them every single day, so it can get a little bit boring. However, I'm just going to go in depth to the type of brush it is and what it's used for, what I use it for, and why I think it is good for what it does. To start off, I'm going to talk about an eyeshadow brush. Now, I'm pretty sure all of you out there have a generic eyeshadow brush. An eyeshadow brush has a dome shape. It is, and it can sometimes be tapered, sometimes it's not tapered. It's usually very densely packed. A lot of people like having eyeshadow brushes that are densely packed because instead of rubbing the product on your eye, you pack it on, and when you pack it on your lid, it makes the color more opaque and show up a lot more vibrant and truer to what it is. Now, I have plenty of eyeshadow brushes. This one I call my medium eyeshadow brush, and this one is my large eyeshadow brush. So as you can see, they're both very different, and you know, some people have bigger lids, so they can use a bigger eyeshadow brush. I think that my lids are pretty small, so I like using the smaller one. Now, I do not suggest this brush for blending. I do not suggest this brush for creating an outer V. I do not suggest this brush for any sort of contouring of any kind. No, this is purely and only, I feel, best for packing on eyeshadow on your lid. The next thing I want to talk about is a blending brush. Now, this brush is my all-time favorite brush. I use this for so many different things, and you can as well. This brush is tapered. It is a dome shape. This one, however, is natural hair. Now, if you want something that is synthetic hair, you can get the same brush, but as you can see, the bristles are dark brown, whereas this one is supposed to be white, but because it's dirty, it's kind of not. The way this brush works is you can use it horizontally. So if you use it horizontally, it's good for getting into the crease, or you can use it vertically, hold it vertically, and it's good for blending out using your windshield wiper motions. To be honest, you can do an entire eye look with just this one brush. You don't have to use all these different types of brushes for your eye look. You know, you can use this one to pack on the eyeshadow and then blend it out. You can use it to apply highlight in your inner corner and your brow bone. You can use it to, you know, create an outer V. You can use this for so many things, and that's why I think this is my all-time favorite brush, because it's so versatile. You can use it for anything. These brushes, I would say, I would compare it to the oh so famous MAC 217 brush. Now, I wouldn't say that, you know, the softness is the same or the quality is the same. However, the way it performs is the same. And you're paying only about $2 for this brush, whereas you'll pay like 20-something dollars for the MAC 217. So everyone's preference, you know, doesn't really matter, but a blending brush, I feel, is essential when it comes to doing your makeup. I think that it's perfect for when you are doing a smoky eye. Let's say you don't want your eyeshadows to look too muddy, just grab a clean one and start blending it again, and it creates such a smoky look with your eyes. It's phenomenal. So I really suggest, if you guys don't have a blending brush, to go and pick one up. Now, you know me, I like creating my outer V. The perfect brush, I think, for creating that outer V is this e.l.f. Professional Defining Eye Brush. So it is just an eyeshadow brush with an angled edge. This one is tapered. Because this brush is angled, it's perfect for creating the stencil that you want for your outer V, and then just blend it all out. This one is also good, I'd say, for, you know, I'm going to tug down on my eye a little bit, but running underneath your lash line. I feel like when you run color underneath your lash line that matches your outer V, it just connects the entire eye look, and it doesn't look like there's this huge gap between the top of your eye and the bottom of your eye. I also like this brush for creating a darker crease. Some people, maybe you don't have a crease, you have mono lids, or sometimes you think that your crease is a little too low, you kind of want to make it a little bit higher. When you put in darker shadows into your crease, it makes the illusion of having bigger lids. So that's why I like this brush. It's real good. It's only $1. This brush, I actually haven't had too much problems with shedding. It's only the eyeshadow brushes that I've had problems with shedding. Now we're going to talk about the e.l.f. Professional Eye Crease Brush. So going back to what I was discussing with the angled brush, this is also perfect for just running straight through your crease to define it. You can also use it to make your eyelids bigger. Now, not only is this good for your crease, I used to actually also use this for blending. It is a little bit stiff and it is a little bit scratchy. But what can you do? It's $1. When I used to use this for blending, I noticed though, however, it didn't exactly blend out very well. So that's why I recommend having this blending brush from Coastal Scents instead, because it's a lot fluffier, and when things are fluffier, they just blend out a lot easier. This eye crease brush I also like to use for blending out my eyeliner. So for example, I applied a pencil liner on the top lash line and I want to smoke it out a little bit. I'll take this, tug on my eye a little bit and just run it back and forth through the lash line, and it blends out the eyeliner so well. It makes it a lot smokier. You can also run it underneath the lower lash line, and it also blends out any color there. Let's say you put some mascara on your lower lashes, you got a little smudge right here. Just take this brush after it's dry, just run it underneath your lower lash line, and bam, the mascara is gone. So this is a very good brush, only for $1. That completes my video on my favorite brushes, and I really hope you guys learned something from this video. You know, maybe if you've been using a brush a certain way, maybe you learned a new way on how to use it differently, or maybe you don't have brushes that I have and you were inspired to create a new eye look, so you are planning on buying any of these brushes. I love all of the brushes that I mentioned down below. Once again, I'm not sponsored. I have to put that out there just because I named so many brushes from a certain brand. But like I said, if I like a brush from a certain brand, I'm just going to go out and keep buying it. I'm not going to go and venture out and get new brushes, which I know is really bad. I promise, guys, I'm going to clean my brushes eventually. Don't hate me, I'm working on it. If you guys actually learned something from this video, or if you guys do plan on getting a brush from a certain brand, leave it down below. I'm really interested to find out. Or if you have a way that you apply your makeup with these brushes that I didn't mention down below, please just leave it there in the comments, because I'd love to learn new ways to apply makeup. You know, makeup is an art, it's a talent as well, and you know, some people just don't have it yet. I'm still slowly learning, so I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about brushes, and just leave me a comment down below. I'd really appreciate it. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you already haven't, and share this video. I really appreciate it, and I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!